Big Boar Barbecue presents Seven Rivers Racing on KQEG TV with Dan the Voice Dykman, Billy Doc Niles, and Paul the Statman Riker. Brought to you by Big Boar Barbecue, Highway 16 West Salem. Big Boar Barbecue, now that's a mouthful. By Carey Heating and Air Conditioning, your residential specialist, serving the La Crosse area since 1929. Carey Heating and Air Conditioning.
Hi, good race fans. Seven Rivers Racing, KQEG TV, along with Billy Doc Niles, the Penguin Paul Reichert. I'm Radio Man Dan Dyker. Thanks for joining us again on the program. Got a different kind of a show we're going to do today. We have an open forum to talk about what's going on this weekend at Toma, Dells Raceway Park, Rockford next week, Fest coming up in 3 weeks. This is like Christmas times 3 weeks in a row for someone like myself that does racetrack announcing, and probably Paul, because you're going to be at several of these races as well. Oh, yeah. Bill doesn't care this time of the year because he just camps. That's it. He's like a nobody when it comes to the racing community because all he does is camps.
I pay attention. You know, I get my phone out and I see what you guys are doing. I know what's happening.
Much rather be there than have to go on my phone.
Yeah.
Lots coming up. Also coming on the show today, I've been wanting to get Bryce Miller on for the longest time, but he lives around the Columbus area. One of the hottest Midwest Truck Series drivers this year. Got a couple of features, almost had 3 in a row. He'd had the second place at the Joe Shear Classic. Yeah. Several quick times and a track record, third in points. He's heading to Fest. So we're going to be talking to him via the telephone on the program. And I got to announce at Kaukauna last weekend, first time. I've been there so many different times, but I've never announced before. And I followed the Midwest Dash Series with the Penguin. And besides eating everything in sight, their fish sandwiches were simply phenomenal, by the way.
I heard you carved a path of food destruction all through the middle of the state.
It was pretty bad. And then McDonald's on the way home. And he was going to charge me a cleaning bill. I don't know what that was all about.
I'm sure your wife does, too.
The Midwest Dash Series, Sue Finstad, the lovely green-haired wife of Tim Finstad, shot video up and turned, well, it's kind of turned 4, I guess you would call that.
Yeah.
And we're going to show you Midwest Dash Series feature from Kaukauna with Phil Maloof behind the wheel leading the thing around here for segment number 3. It's just, it's just that time of the year where getting guests to come in the studio is hard to do because we don't want to take them away from their shops and their garages because they're wrenching on cars for all these races coming up.
Yeah, we will. If you listen to our radio show this week, we talked to Billy Moe, and He's been racing weekly at Elko Speedway.
And remember, the TV show's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if you're watching this on Thursday or Friday, the radio show is Saturday at noon on Bog Country 101.3.
And Billy Moan's been telling us for the last 2 weeks, he's skipping the last 2 weeks so he can get his super late model ready, get his late model ready for a run at the La Crosse Championship. Because let's face it, he's got a really good shot at second place, only 3 points behind Steve Carlson. Outside shot at catching Mergic, but it's going to have to be some really bad luck on Mergic's part for him to catch. So that's something that he was telling us about. He needs the time to get both cars ready.
Racing coming up this weekend. I'll be announcing the Enduro at the Toma Sparta Speedway. The Enduro will be replayed next Thursday on KQEG TV 23 at 7 o'clock. And then next Sunday, it's going to be, and let me get my notes right here, Friday night from 2019 Oktoberfest will be replayed in its entirety Sunday at 7. So I'll be going to Toma this weekend for the Enduro. I'll be announcing at Dells Raceway Park this weekend for what they've got going on. Then heading to Rockford for the first time ever next weekend. Mid-Ams, Midwest Dash, and the big hobby gala they've got going on. Then, of course, Oktoberfest Race weekend. So are we all geared up and ready to go for the next 3 weeks?
I've already started washing clothes in anticipation of just a little bit cooler weather.
Yeah, and no R word this year.
Yeah.
No. Any of that.
Not even
though
even the S word.
The forecast for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at Fest right now looks fantastic. Sunny and upper 50s and mid-40s for the nighttime. So we'll take that to start Fest.
Definitely.
When we come back, Midwest Truck Series driver Bryce Miller joining us on the phone here at KQEG TV.
You don't have to fly to Kansas City to get great barbecue.
La Crosse has spoken. Hi, Jerry here, and once again you voted us the best barbecue and caterer. This year you added ribs. I'm truly humbled by this honor. If you haven't tried our barbecue, I invite you to stop in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Find out why La Crosse County consistently votes us #1. Ribs, pulled pork, brisket, and chicken, and so much more. We also cater groups large and small. Big Boar Barbecue, Highway 16, West Salem.
American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is built to a higher standard, so you can focus on the problems in your life that really actually matter. Like figuring out which remote turns the TV on, or the smell in the vegetable crisper that in no way can be vegetables, or finding your phone when you leave it on vibrate. Whatever you're worrying about, it won't be this. American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, built to a higher standard.
Welcome back. Seven Rivers Racing, KQEG TV. Got some fantastic sponsors along for the ride. Just ate at the Big Boar Barbecue here about a week ago, and going to have them here in a couple of weeks at Oktoberfest. Got some other fantastic folks on board.
Definitely. Like you mentioned, Big Boar Barbecue, our title sponsor, voted #1 restaurant and #1 caterer in La Crosse County. What is that, 4 or 5 years in a row?
5 years in a row.
Yeah, of course, Carey Heating and Air Conditioning, if you haven't noticed, and this week you probably haven't because it got a little bit warmer, temperatures are going to be getting cooler, so get that furnace checked out, get it tuned up, because you're going to need it here in about a week or two. Fansarena.com showing us showing you why we look so good. They provide the threads. J&L Collectibles and NorthstarCustoms.com. Now, if you're going to be at Oktoberfest, we're going to be doing a live simulcast of our radio show on TV Saturday at noon. So make sure you check out their tent. That's where we're going to be hanging out. And we can't put this show on without any of their help this year.
Excuse me. One of the gentlemen that will be at Oktoberfest Race Weekend, racing on Saturday at Fest, is Bryce Miller, currently third in points in the Midwest Truck Series. 2 feature wins this year, almost had a third of the Joe Shear Classic. He's got a couple of fast times and just set a track record during the Wisconsin State Championships at Jefferson about a week ago. And joining us on the phone line is Bryce Miller. Bryce, how are you, pal?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on the show.
Man, I tell you what, I've announced around this area for about 15 years now, and I think Billy Doc Niles racing late models for 30 years. I don't think we've ever seen a guy jump off the Midwest Truck Series page like this.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun this season. We kind of started out, didn't know what to expect, didn't know how competitive it is because the Truck Series. There's a lot of good guys like Swan and Vandergeest, Valento. I mean, there's a lot of every week they're showing up, and you got to compete. So we really hit our stride at Kaukauna. We tested the week before, which was huge, just to get laps before everyone else got there. So then it really showed in the race, and ever since then it's been going really well. Had some bad luck at Jefferson, but other than that, we've been rolling.
Well, folks, here's the background on Bryce Miller this year. Marshfield back in July qualified 6th, finished 7th. At the Dixieland Delight at WIR, he won the feature. Then he goes to Jefferson, the Jefferson 50. He gets fast time and the win. Then he goes back to Jefferson, Wisconsin State Championships last Friday. He sets a track record, finishes 15th. And then September 5th, you almost had 3 wins in a row at the Joe Shear Classic, qualified 2nd, and you finished 2nd. That had to have been a kick in the pants right there, man, knowing you were that close to getting 3 in a row, which on the Truck Series, that's hard to do.
Yeah, it's been pretty unreal just the way it's gone. I thought we might have a shot at the Dells, but I had to start so deep in the pack that time I got the Swan, my stuff was pretty well used up. When we were still happy with the second place finish, just knowing we had to avoid a lot of wrecks and my line went backwards a couple times. So we were pretty excited about a second place run there.
And you know, Billy Doc Niles at Marshfield back in July, Bryce Miller's mom asked Chico, of all people, to spot for him.
Nice.
What'd you think about Chico talking to you in your ears?
Yeah, I love having Chico. Just so much experience. He's been doing this for, I think 36 years or something like that.
Yeah.
He's old.
So it's always good to have him, just such a wealth of knowledge. And lately, or at least up until like this point, I had a different spotter for like 9 races in a row, which was just insane. So up until I think Jefferson was the first, Chico was my first repeat spotter, just because we don't pay guys to come to the track. We don't pay spotters. Just me, my mom and dad that show up to the track. So we're a pretty small budget team. And so Chico was the first guy to have a repeat. And then ever since then, it's just kind of been whoever we can find. So it always throws a loophole into the race night.
Talking with the number 11 of Bryce Miller, he dropped to 4th place after the Wisconsin State Championships. James Swan, 19-point leader for Levon Vandergeest. Bryce drops to 4th, only 31 back, though. And then Joe Valento sitting back there in 3rd. You still got some time to really look at a championship here. Obviously, you got to fight through Fest first, and then following, that's a no-holds-barred, gloves-off kind of a race.
Yeah, 31 points, that's what we're out now, so we'll just take it one race at a time, and just the goal going in every night is try to set fast time and win the heat, win the feature. If you do that, you should put yourself in a pretty good spot. So we'll try to get through fast, and then the Dalles, that race is always, you just never know what to expect there. It always seems like you never know what to expect there. It's, there's usually a lot of carnage, and just got to avoid your stuff and make sure it lasts, because it is the last race of the season, so guys are a little bit on edge.
You know, most people got their first look at you at Oktoberfest last year, but how much experience did you have at any of these tracks before Oktoberfest last year?
Not many. So going into the year, I think the first 5 races, I've never even turned a lap on. So that was just trying to learn what the truck's doing, and then learn what the track's doing, and how to drive the track, and how to race it in traffic and stuff like that. So that was just a huge learning curve. So once we got to test at Dixieland, that helped a lot. And then ever since then, we've raced at tracks that I'm familiar with, which it really showed, like Jefferson. That's my home track. I raced Sportsman there forever, and then the Dells. So now, like the second half of the year, I'm really looking forward, because lacrosse, I turned a ton of laps there at Fest. I probably turned almost 400 practice laps, just trying to get used to the truck and the track, and then we'll head back to the Dells for the last race of the season.
I was going to say, you're a former Sportsman driver, and did you get to run your limited late model at all this year?
No, we got it all built, I think July, and we were going to take it to the race before, I think the 5,000 to win race. We were going to test the week before and then plan on running that. But we had an engine expire in practice that day, so we never really got that back together, just due to financial issues.
You know, going through some of the pictures on your Facebook, I saw some familiar Sportsman races. And number one, you had a badass-looking Sportsman back in the day, man. That blue and white machine, that was simply phenomenal. And I noticed a bunch of guys you used to run against, I used to announce with the Mid-American Stock Car Series and the Great Northern Sportsman Series. And I saw a couple of good battles you had, like with the guy, the likes of Jason Toma.
Yes, yeah, that racing at Jefferson every week in the Sportsman division for, like, I think 2 or 3 years, I picked up a ton of knowledge. I mean, that track is so different. 1 and 2 is flat, and 3 and 4 is bank, so you kind of get a good variety. And those guys that race the Sportsman down there, they're no joke. I mean, they taught me a lot, and I definitely wouldn't be where I am today without them.
And again, being down there for my first time last weekend, Billy, we stood up in turn 1, and I couldn't believe. I mean, number one, you're so close to the track, and then in between 3 and 4, you can actually, or between 1 and 2, you can sit there in the grass right by the wall. And we were standing up by 3 during practice, and I couldn't believe how close you were. But he's right; it's like this in one corner, and Thomas Sparta Speedway in the other corner.
You can't, and Brian, Bryce, you'll attest to this. You can't set your car up to run one certain way. You got to be pretty darn neutral going around that track.
Yeah, that's the trick, especially because now they're running at the bottom of 3 and 4. You can run the top of 3 and 4. You can run the middle of 3 and 4. So those guys, they're all over the place, and then hopefully they get squared away before they get down the front chute, because that's usually they're going 3 to 4 wide and 3 and 4, and you have to make sure your stuff's good, because at that place there's no place to hide. So if you're not good, you're going to find that out pretty quick.
2 feature wins, a couple of fast times in the track record this year so far for the Monarch Media Design, number 11 of Bryce Miller. Hey, Bryce, how do you know Austin Wells?
So I worked at Madison Speedway.
Billy's smiling. Billy's smiling because I'm about to set you up for something here. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we worked at Madison Speedway together, and we worked with Greg, and he would take us all over the place, and we went to, like, Snowball Derby together. We went to Eldora to watch the Dirt Derby. So we've been good friends ever since.
Because Austin works up at the Lacrosse Speedway with us now. And the reason I ask is because, Billy, I don't know if you knew this, but Austin Wells and Bryce Miller are such superstars that back in 2018 they were hanging out in a hotel with Cedric the Entertainer.
Dude, you got pull.
Yeah, we've had a lot of good times. And
that picture you guys took with Cedric the Entertainer in that really odd-looking suit he had. Man, that was killer.
It really was. He was pretty awesome, and we just at the airport, and we didn't know who he was, and then he told us his name, and we still didn't know who he was, and then it dawned on us, and then we thought about it the whole way back to the hotel of who we just met and how that just happened.
Now, do you ever sit back and watch TV and go, I met that guy?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Just he had a performance down in Pensacola, and we were going down there for the Derby, and just our paths crossed at that time.
Hey, Bryce, we only got about 30 seconds left here. Why don't you give some love to the sponsors helping you out here in 2020?
Yeah, I got to thank my sponsor. I wouldn't be there without them. Definitely Floors for Less, Jacoby Waterproofing, Wise Guys Auto, Driven Racing Oil, Drexel Building Supply, Monarch Media and Design, and MRI, Andrew Morrissey. He talks with us all the time, and when he sets us up, and it's really showing how good his stuff really is.
So that means Friday and Saturday of Fest, after Fest is done, you're going to have to stop into the exhibition hall because your sponsor, Jacoby Water, is sponsoring the bands both Friday and Saturday. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Yeah, he wanted to do that this year, and they saw the band at the Dells they had for the 5,000 race, and he thought they were pretty good, so he booked them for Fest that night.
Well, make sure, folks, when you head into the bands on Friday, Saturday, you stop in and thank the guys with Jacoby Waterproofing. Got a wet basement, give them a call.
Ken Jacoby, Booker.
This is true. Hey, Bryce Miller, nice job on the season so far, man. Can't wait to get you down at Oktoberfest and to see what you can do there. We're going to follow you to the Halloween as well.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you so much for having me on, and I'm looking forward to Oktoberfest.
Bryce Miller, definitely one to watch out for at Oktoberfest here in just a couple of weeks. So be watching for that truck because he's going to be part of that fantastic trio running for an Oktoberfest championship. When we come back, we're going to show you the Midwest Dash Race from Kaukauna last week that Diker got the opportunity to call. You're watching the Big Boy Barbecue presents Seven Rivers Race. God, Diker. Big Boy Barbecue presents Seven Rivers Racing on KQEG TV.
You don't have to fly to Kansas City to get great barbecue.
Well, you've done it again. Hi, Jerry here. You voted us the #1 barbecue and caterer for the 5th year in a row. This year you added ribs. Now, if you haven't tried our barbecue, let me personally invite you to try the best ribs, pulled pork, brisket, chicken, and so much more. Visit us on Highway 16 West Salem. Dine in or outside one of our picnic tables. Drive-through and carry-out is always available. Big Boar Barbecue, a delicious mouthful.
American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is built to a higher standard, so you can focus on the problems in your life that really actually matter. Like figuring out which remote turns the TV on, or the smell in the vegetable crisper that in no way can be vegetables, or finding your phone when you leave it on vibrate. Whatever you're worrying about, it won't be this. American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, built to a higher standard.
Welcome back, race fans. Seven Rivers Racing KQEG TV presented by Big Boar Barbecue. Told you earlier in the program I had a chance to announce at WIR, Kaukauna, Wisconsin National Raceway last Sunday with the Tundra Late Model Series and Matt Panier. And I've been doing the Midwest Dash Series for 8 or 9 years, something like that now. Had a chance to go up there and do the race, and one of the feistiest Midwest Dash guys you're going to find is Tim Finstad in the green 33.
The Traveler.
Yes, and his wife Sue actually taped the entire feature. It's kind of an awkward taping because it's kind of up in turn 4, but we thought we would give these guys a chance to be shown on TV. And here is the Midwest Dash feature from Kaukauna.
And congratulations to Phil Maloff on winning that race. Maloff, a former champion of the series, also a multi-time winner at Oktoberfest, so he's no stranger to running around in the Midwest. That's going to wrap it up.
And of course, you might also want to remember that we have had his daughter, Anna, at the Tomasporta Speedway not once but twice this year in the Bandoleros. So he's been following his daughter along and said he'll be back with more Midwest Dash next year.
That's it. We're going to be back with more TV next week, show you some great highlights. This is Big Boar Barbecue presents Seven Rivers Racing on KQEG TV.
You've been watching Seven Rivers Racing on KQEG TV with Dan the Voice Dyker, Billy Doc Niles, and Paul the Statman Riker. Brought to you by Big Boar Barbecue, Highway 16 West Salem. Big Boar Barbecue. Now that's a mouthful. By Carey Heating and Air Conditioning, your residential specialist. Serving the La Crosse area since 1929. Carey Heating and Air Conditioning. Thanks for watching Seven Rivers Racing on KQEG TV.
You don't have to fly to Kansas City to get great barbecue.
La Crosse has spoken. Hi, Jerry here, and once again you voted us the best barbecue and caterer. This year you added ribs. I'm truly humbled by this honor. If you haven't tried our barbecue, I invite you to stop in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Find out why La Crosse County consistently votes us #1. Ribs, pulled pork, brisket, and chicken, and so much more. We also cater groups large and small. Big Boar Barbecue, Highway 16, West Salem.